So, good afternoon, Mr. Iqbal. How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, I'm good. I just thought of the general question. How do you think e-commerce in general is growing in Dubai?
So e-commerce is growing at a very uh, fast pace. It's being taken up quite well by the economy, and people are responding well to it.
Now, as a blockchain person yourself, how do you think that blockchain is going to affect the supply chain industry?
Hmm. So this blockchain is going to impact the supply chain in major ways. So there's a lot of efficiencies that it's bringing to the table. And as these efficiencies are developed and as the supply chain gets more um, interactive, it's going to impact the e-commerce part as well. And then the flow of goods and the speed at which goods are delivered, as well as all of the regulatory impacts of that, are going to be much smoother. So blockchain is going to be pretty significant from that perspective. The other element around blockchain that is from an e-commerce perspective, since e-commerce is more B2B, is right now there's no control on the data that is being generated by all of the transactions that are being done and so. And blockchains gives you a platform where people will actually be able to control the amount of information that is being used by marketing people, the amount of information that is being used for different purposes, which is not true today.
So, how do you think the features of blockchain like transparency, full control, are going to affect and I mean, sorry, what are the issues that this is going to incorporate blockchain? Sorry, could we go again? What are the issues blockchain is going to have in terms of incorporating itself within the Middle East region?
So blockchain, it's going to, biggest challenge that people will have to face with blockchain is to understand what the impact of this is. And it's not a product, it's not something that you can buy off a shelf and you can execute. And the implications from government perspective and from regulators is quite significant. So it's going to take a bit of time for things to develop out here. There is a very good perspective that the government of Dubai has for this, but we don't see that across the different parts of the Middle East as yet.
Okay.
And a very good example would be, some of the work that's being done in China, in Singapore, in Hong Kong, especially around supply chains, especially around trade, and the way that they're looking at deploying blockchain. So there's a definitely a learning that can come from there, and with the guidance that, for example, the Dubai government has given for government activities, I think there is a potential for it to grow very fast out here.
So the government is not going to pose a challenge to having
No,
blockchain?
as a matter of fact, because of what blockchain does, it gives them more control over things. So the governments are generally in favor of blockchain, and they are actually being the leading initiators of blockchain activities. I mean, we see that in all the places where blockchain is taking hold. Dubai, definitely, the Dubai government is supporting that. In Hong Kong, it's the Monetary Authority of Hong Kong. In Singapore, it's the Monetary Authority of Singapore. In China, it's all multiple government entities that are driving this initiative.
And now, in talking about e-commerce in perspective, how do you think that will blockchain completely shift the way e-commerce is working?
So whether it shifts how e-commerce is working specifically, it'll definitely have significant impact to it. It'll definitely significantly shift the way that the entire supply chain process is happening. So the entire supply chain, value chain, that is going to be impacted significantly, and of course that will have impact to the e-commerce side as well. But I mean, it's all very positive. It's going to be more control in the on the consumer side, more control even from the business side and the government side. Yeah.
So, blockchain is the future.
Blockchain is definitely the future. It's just a matter of time.
So, Mr. Iqbal, it was an absolutely wonderful conversation. Thank you for insights. And just one last question. How do you think events like this is going to, help all these industry specialists?
So the events like this, actually, the value of these events is that it increases people's understanding of what are all of the different changes that are happening. And change at this time is happening at such a fast pace. It's, it's very difficult to take your head up from your day-to-day job and then come in and just keep ahead of the curve. So events like this are, essential to do that, to bring things to perspective.
Thank you so much, Mr.
Not
Iqbal.
at all. Thank you very much.